What's up, everyone? So today I wanted to talk about two things that kind of work hand in hand. One of them is uh, being able to know when you're coming from an intuitive place versus the headspace. And then the other one is kind of just the idea of leaning into like the truth. So let's start with intuition. I get that question all the time. How do I know if it's intuition or my head? Well, here's the thing about intuition. Intuition doesn't give reason. It just points the way. So intuition might say, go that way. And in your mind, you're thinking, okay, but why? Intuition repeats, go that way. And again, you're like, I don't get why though. Like, give me a reason, then I'll do it. And then intuition says again, go that way. So intuition doesn't provide whys. It just provides direction. It's going to tell you one way or another, do this or don't do that, go here, don't go there. But it's not going to give you the reasons because intuition isn't like a person. It's just an energy that is designed essentially to safeguard you from misfortune, mishap, and to preserve, like if you're really meditating on something you want, to preserve your capacity or ability to have what you want. So I mean, I could give an example, and I think a lot of you would think I was like just crazy, but I'll give you guys an example. So at one point I used to have a magazine, and my business partner at the time, he defaulted on our agreement, and as a result, it left the business in a lot of debt. I was already going through too much, so I kind of just did what I could to basically sell off the brand and then pay off my debts and move on. It wasn't enough to file bankruptcy over by any means, so I just paid off every one of my credit cards, and then I moved on. So I was working in like a real estate kind of position for a while. Just, I don't like working for others, but I went, to work for others for a minute, for about a year, to pay off this debt. I'll never forget, I was about a year in, maybe 10 months in. And one day I just keep hearing this voice say, text so-and-so, a friend I've had from college. And I'm like, why? And I just kept hearing, text so-and-so. I didn't know what I was even going to say to this person. I was like, why am I supposed to text this person? I don't get it. But the thought, it just kept coming to me, text him, text him, text him. And it went on for about a week. Finally, I reached out and I was like, hey, how's it going? And, he's like, good, I'm good. I'm with my wife. We rented a beach house in Malibu for a few weeks. So we're good. And he's like, what have you been up to? And I was like, oh, I'm just working, wanting to pay off my debt. And he's like, oh, are you still trying to hack away at that? And this is a very wealthy individual, like very like deep roots in Vegas, big money, family. Okay. And I was like, yep, I'm still hacking away at that debt. And then I used to do massage therapy for a living, and it had been a long time since I saw him. And so, I really didn't know what else to say to him. And I said, I guess if you want a massage, just let me know, like whatever. And he goes, well, how much is it? And I had mentioned the massage, and then we had gone into the debt. So it was actually flipped. But then I said, I have $12,000 left to pay off. And he goes, wow, that's a lot of massages. And I said, oh, I thought you meant my debt. No, I mean, the massage is whatever you want to pay. Like, I'm not going to charge you. I'm not working anymore. And then he's like, well, we'll see. And he goes, do you have a PayPal account? And I said, yes. And he's like, what is it? And I sent him my email. And then within seconds, he had sent me $1,000. Okay. And I was like, you don't have to do that. He's like, I know. He's like, but whatever. Have a nice day. The next morning, he texts me on the way to my shitty job, right? My shitty position I hated. I sold units for a developer, basically. Like, I helped in that process, and I hated it. But anyway, so he texts me, and he's like, how would you feel if I just paid off all of your debt? And I was like, well, I'll pay you back. He goes, no, you won't, because that'll put you back into debt. And I hate seeing someone that I care about, like after all these years, you know, because it was about 2 years. It was about 2 years that I was like trying to get out of this situation. And he goes, I don't want to see you in the position anymore. So how would you feel if I paid it off? And I was like, well, if you want to do that, I will let you. And he's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean, this is someone who probably takes in about $250,000 a month, right? So my 12 grand, like, was not a big deal to him. And so then he did. He's like, I'll text you when I get back into town next week from Malibu. And he texted me a week later and he said, so what's your banking information? I sent it. He's like, okay. And then the next day he's like, all right, it's done. You know, have a nice day. And that was it. That was it. And so I literally called the bank and there it was, $11,000 in my account. That's intuition. Now, if I had argued with that and needed a reason, I never would have gotten that job done. You want to talk about a gift, an absolute freaking gift? I mean, this man, like I said, he, you know, he's not an elitist in his attitude, but he's definitely someone who, like, money is just like $100 to me is like $10,000 to him. It's, you know what I mean? When you make the comparison. And so it was just this really amazing gift that he gave me. And like I said, it was because I had such a strong intention to pay off my debt that I kept myself open to the opportunity to just pay it off. I even begged him to do lunch with me. Like, he wouldn't even want to see me. He was just like, no, it's not a big deal. He's a Leo. Leos are generous people. But, you know, again, my point is that if I had quarreled with my intuition, that might not have ever happened. But I just was like, okay, I'm going to just text him because that's what my intuition is telling me to do. So the thing that people often mistake, though, for intuition is like that, oh, I'm getting a bad feeling. And then like fear. They can't tell the difference between like, this isn't right, and fear. Okay, intuition is invested in your safety and your protection and your well-being and for things going your way. So if you feel afraid, I can guarantee it's because you've decided something in your mind is real and you are out of alignment with your intuition. Because intuition provides information to move you into a good place, a safe place, a real place, a true place. It doesn't operate to walk you off a cliff, okay? That's not the purpose of intuition. Intuition is this, you know, really amazing, I don't know what to call it exactly, but it's the really amazing thing that we all have to help us to navigate our lives and be easier. And so when you're in the reasoning mind, see, the reasoning mind is fabulous at creating reasons. So the reasoning mind creates lists. If you are like, well, I really want to, and your but has a whole bunch of reasons, I can tell you that's not intuition talking, that's your fear talking. And I'm not saying not to be logical about things, but don't let logic override what your gut is telling you either. If your gut is saying go for it anyway, whatever it may be, step forward anyway, try it anyway, and it's not providing that reason, don't allow the logic that has a laundry list of reasons to keep you in fear, okay? Which leads me into my next point, which is when we're up against a wall in our lives and we're really seeking change, oftentimes we're like, oh my gosh, but if I do this, it's going to be worse. So if I really discover this aspect of myself, you know, it's going to be, you know, the worst thing ever. You know, if I leave my husband who I hate, I'm never going to be happy. I'm never going to find someone I love if I, whatever, right? But here's the thing, truth, like real core truths, aren't painful. They bring relief. Like, I had a session today with a client, and she's been trying to navigate the corporate world for years, and she's miserable. And I said, why do you keep trying to please minions? Why do you keep, you're a facilitator, you're a leader. Why are you trying to get these minions to approve of you and validate you? Your job is to lead them. And when you're in a position of leadership, I said, no one's going to initiate on your behalf. If anything, they're going to be scared of you, and it's your job to be inclusive with them. But you've outgrown that role of I'm a follower. You're a facilitator, and it's time that you move into that. And as I said that to her, like you could see on her face and her body just relax, because I was giving her a truth. The truth is you're a leader. The truth is you're a facilitator. Now, does that mean that she's like off the hook and doesn't have to take responsibility? No, she has to now take responsibility for another level of activity in her life. However, the painful place she was in of nobody likes me, listens to me, hates me, they, all that mind chatter, that was the lie. That was the lie. The lie was that they wouldn't validate her because they didn't respect her. The truth is she needed to change the way she showed up in these positions to get what she wanted. So when we're wanting to make really big changes in our lives, we can't fear the truth, because the truth is what's going to help us to find healing, clarity, a path or a direction, tools, and perceptions of ourself will shift. So often I see people who are like women who don't want to leave relationships, and they're like, I can't do it on my own. That's the lie they're identifying with. The truth is that they're fully capable, and if they took the step they needed to and got out of their own little, rat race, their own personal rat race, they would be propelled, because they're no longer working against themselves. They're working with their higher self. They're back in their seat of truth. They're back in their intuition, and they're in alignment so things can move forward. But when we're out of alignment, man, things get ugly, they get gross, and we get crippled by the fear of our reality. And it's only when we're willing to go, okay, I need to see another way around this, I need to see a way out of this, so then all of a sudden the light can crack in. Or I was joking with her, I said, finally, right, we found a window, we can exhale. And so again, intuition and truth, they run parallel as far as the operating system in ourselves. If you're not centered in yourself and in your core and in your gut to know yes, no, then it doesn't matter. You're just going to be spinning your own wheels in your brain all the time, because that's where you live. And this thing is just there to take direction when we decide which way we're going to go. It's not meant to be the director. So you have to know how to work your intuition, and then you have to trust that okay, I've only ever, in her situation, I've only ever really worked in corporate environments, but it's not working anymore. And the truth is I really hate it. Maybe I should lean into something else, which is the possibility that there's a whole new way to live, be, create, do. And if I can accept that, then the way will continue to open up. But when we hit these resistance points in our lives where nothing is working, it's because we're trying to do it from the old way, right? And it takes courage to be okay, I don't want to look at what this new truth might be about myself, but I don't want to be stuck here either. And so if the truth is that I need to leave my spouse to have happiness, well, that might be painful for a second, but the truth is you never needed them anyway. So you know, like I said, I'm not saying that there aren't these like sharp, like twister pivotal moments when we discover truth. If we find out that our parents were perpetrators and we were blind to it our whole lives, that might be a painful realization. But the relief that comes with it is knowing that you are not them, and you don't have to agree with it or be stuck to it or confined to it or whatever anymore, right? That would be the truth that would free you. So when it comes to making these really pivotal changes in our lives, it's important to get grounded, find your intuition, know how to gauge it, and then muster up the courage to lean into whatever that truth might be. Because like I said, truth and intuition run parallel, and they are there to bring you relief. They are there to bring you towards your highest potential. They are there to bring you in alignment with your dreams. They are like, they don't work against you. Okay, I promise. You know, intuition is not is not, you know, setting you up to fall in a booby trap. That's not how it works. Okay, so learning to trust those instincts and know that the fear is tied to the lie. The truth is tied to relief. Okay, I hope that was helpful, guys. I was just inspired from my session today to do a little video on that. And as usual, if you liked my video, then like it, share it, subscribe to my YouTube. I'm trying to build my YouTube up these days. And I'm available. I am a personal coach, and I'd love to help people like pinpoint the exact variable that they can't see. You know, we all kind of have our own blind spots. So if you are interested in having a dialogue with me, I am available at thedharmicpath.com. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.